Hi, I'm Charlie Wilson. I'm currently working as the Communications Officer for the International Permaculture CoLab.
My name is Maan, and my relationship with CoLab is I'm part of a couple of circles/projects within CoLab.
My name is Vida Ashmole, and I'm a contributor at the International Permaculture CoLab. I actually participated this year in the picture forming for the Permaculture in Africa Circle, which is a brand new circle.
My name is Aimee Fenech, and in the CoLab I am in many places, including project manager of the Next Steps project, and I'm a member of the Digital Circle, the Funding Circle, and the Welcome Gardening.
The Learn team exists in order to build courses and podcasts and different kind of resources that are based on permaculture values. This is to attract people into the International Permaculture CoLab and just to provide value, to provide knowledge, to provide information for the general public. The Learn team is open by invitation only. The Learn team operates by the people who are part of the Learn team are taking part of the profits of each of the courses that are held on the website. People who are hosting courses on the website, they get to host everything. They get technical support. They get support with uploading their resources. So they get a lot of help when they host something on the Learn website. So if somebody feels that they have something of value to offer to the Learn team, then they can contact the Learn team and then they will be considered for being a part of this circle. This was decided by the current members of the Learn team, who are myself, Aimee Fenech, and Daniel Atwell.
MVA is Minimum Viable Academy, and it's part of the CoLab training program. We design, deliver, and facilitate conscious adaptive experiments to develop competence within our CoLab and outside in a playful and a fun experiential mode. So you'll hear workshops, different spaces that we as facilitators organize. 4 of us at the beginning. It was Aimee, Fenech, myself, Ninad, and Stefan Morales from A Greater Than. We came together just navigating what these facilitative spaces meant, and this is way back in 2021. And we all agreed to a common framework called Modern Agile, and we did our picture forming, what MVA would look like. And then we came together as a team. We created our own, we responded to the team canvases, created our working agreements, what the CoLab needs were, and what kind of facilitative spaces that we can create workshops and trainings and things like that. So that's how it organically began at the beginning of times in 2021.
The real mission here was to see what the Permaculture in Africa group wanted to achieve. And what we've come up with is 3 big missions, which is to really essentially make the CoLab a more friendly place for people with projects in Africa, and to also facilitate a sort of bilateral sharing of information, knowledge, skills, and resources. So we're looking at doing this. We're having our first ever meeting at the end of October in 2024. And we're looking at doing this through curating resources that might help projects, also creating a sort of easy and accessible onboarding pathway for people and projects in Africa. And then the last way is really fitting into the inclusion vision that we have for the CoLab as a whole, and that is to work together in ways that are diverse, inclusive, and joyful, and actually fun, and make the community a better space to be in. If you'd like to join, you can follow the hashtag permaculture-in-Africa, and you can also add yourself to the user group, which is just the same name with an @ symbol in front. So I hope to see you there. We have meetings once a month, and we would love to welcome you. If you have resources, ideas, if you are permaculturists in Africa, we'd absolutely love to have you there. One of the big pieces for us is also learning from African permaculturists, and this fits into our mission to make permaculture more diverse and inclusive, and to also decolonize permaculture as it stands today. So if you're a permaculturist with knowledge in drought-resistant crops or resilience or indigenous farming methods, we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to have you in the CoLab. And just generally come along. Like the CoLab, it's a great space. It's a great space to learn. We're also looking at building up digital skills, capacity, fundraising capacity, and a whole lot more.
One of the hats that I wear is as a startup incubation facilitator. And this means that I help people in the CoLab start micro enterprises and help micro enterprises that exist to continue functioning as best as possible. Micro enterprises are started in the CoLab from 2 or more people who are interested in working together to develop a small business. And this could be a couple of freelancers that are interested, for example, in digital services, which is how the Digital Circle was first started. It could be that their area of interest is different. So any permaculture domain is a valid area which micro enterprises could be started in, but they're primarily started between people and in collaboration with each other. One example is the Funding Circle Services, which is made up of, at the moment, 2 freelancers. That's myself and Tanya. And Tanya takes care of grant writing and research and taking care of the funding opportunities database. And I bring the business into the circle. So I recommend projects to come and have a look at what we offer and point towards different directions. I also research funding opportunities. The interesting thing about micro enterprises is that the people within the micro enterprises, such as this one, which is the Funding Circle Services, decide how the circle operates and runs. So obviously we have to run within the confines of the CoLab. So we have a fiscal host, which helps us to invoice from and receive monies for our services. We have decided to have an income sharing pot, which pays for some of our infrastructure in the longer term. And in our circle, that's about 10%. So 10% of every invoice that's received goes into the income sharing. And we have also decided to make decisions by consent, which means that anything that we have an idea about, we can propose to each other and we can discuss until we find an agreement as to how we would be moving forward. This kind of process is useful to avoid conflicts, and also it generates a co-creative space where people can bounce ideas off each other and find ideas that work across the teams. In general, micro enterprises can be small or large. Obviously, the more people you have in these micro enterprises, the more complicated it becomes to make certain decisions. So, for example, if I give another circle, the Digital Circle Services, in some aspects, it could be that one person that holds a role like financial administration, they carry on their role without having to constantly go back to the rest of the team to process something. This kind of facilitates the time gap between a decision needing to be made and the consent process, right? So you kind of embody that role in that aspect. Obviously, there are still decisions made by consent. We're still within the fiscal hosting setup of the CoLab, using Open Collective for financial transparency. And we also have in that circle an income sharing pot, which we use for internal costs, such as it could be marketing, financial admin, or just mutual support, depending on the members' decisions on how to do this.